Most people think Donald Trump's power comes from what he says, but the real secret is what he doesn't say. Because silence, when used the right way, can control attention, control emotion, and control a room more than any speech ever could. You've been giving away your power without even knowing it. All because you don't understand silence. Love him or hate him. One thing is clear. Donald Trump understands attention. People talk about his bold energy, his loud style, his confidence, but almost nobody talks about the quiet parts of his communication. They overlook the pauses, the moments where he says nothing, the times he waits just long enough for the world to lean in. Silence is not the first thing people think of when they think of Trump, but that is exactly why it is so interesting. Because silence, when used with purpose, is not weakness. It is not fear. It is not confusion. Silence is a strategy. Silence is a tool. Silence is a form of power that many people never learn to use. Silence is a strange thing. Most people think silence means nothing is happening, that silence is empty. But silence is not empty at all. In human psychology, silence can be one of the strongest tools a person can use. It can guide attention. It can change the mood of a room. It can shift power without a single word. That is why the idea my silence speaks power feels so deep. It is simple, but it carries something heavy inside it. And when we look at public figures who understand attention, figures like Donald Trump, we begin to see how silence works in ways most people never notice. The human mind does not like silence. Silence makes people nervous. Silence makes them talk too much. Silence makes them reveal thoughts they meant to hide. In conflict, the person who fills the space with words often looks desperate, while the one who stays calm, steady, and quiet appears stronger. Silence becomes a mirror, forcing the other person to confront their own thoughts. That is the heart of the phrase, "My silence speaks power." It is the quiet message that says, I am not rushed. I am not pressured. I am not controlled by your emotions. Quiet confidence is heavy. People feel it, even if they do not understand it. In daily life, both small and big situations show this truth. Imagine an argument between two people. One person talks non-stop, trying to win the moment. The other person stays silent, listening, observing, breathing. The room shifts. The energy changes. The silence becomes the strongest presence in the conversation. Silence is often misunderstood as giving up. But true silence, the kind that comes from confidence, is actually control. This applies to leaders, public figures, and everyday people. And when we talk about someone like Trump, the lesson becomes even more clear. He is known for speaking loudly, boldly, and directly. But within that boldness, there is timing. There are pauses. There are moments where he waits and says nothing. These moments create tension. Tension creates attention. People lean in when there is silence, especially when they expect noise. When he pauses before answering a question, even that tiny moment changes the atmosphere. When he stays quiet on a topic, news channels start guessing why. His silence becomes a story, and that story makes people watch, wonder, and wait. This is not about politics. This is about understanding human psychology. Silence makes the mind race. It makes people project their own thoughts, fears, and hopes into the empty space. And that empty space becomes powerful. But this is not only about public figures. This is about you. Silence is something you can use every day. When someone insults you, silence can show strength. When someone tries to push you into a quick answer, silence gives you control. When someone wants to provoke you, silence tells them, you cannot pull me like a puppet. Speaking is easy. Reacting is easy. But staying silent takes discipline. It takes emotional control. It takes inner strength. That is why silence feels so powerful. It shows you are not controlled by pressure or emotion. It shows you decide your own pace. Imagine the last time you were in a tense situation, a meeting, a conversation, a conflict. If you held silence for just 5 seconds longer, everything would have felt different. The energy in the room would shift. The other person would start to think more carefully. Your silence would become the center of the moment. That is how silence works. It slows everything down and gives you space to see clearly. And people feel that. They sense a kind of presence in you, even if they cannot explain it. Silence is not passive. It is active. It is a choice. It sends a message without sound. I don't need a rush. I don't need to prove anything. I speak when I choose, not when you demand it. This is why silence becomes a form of power, because most people cannot handle it. Most people panic in silence. Most people rush to fill the quiet. But if you can stay still, if you can remain calm, you become the steady center of the moment. This is something that leaders understand, including Trump. His loud moments get the attention, but his quiet moments hold the real psychological weight. He uses silence the way an actor uses stage lighting. It highlights the moment, shifts the focus, and changes how people feel. Silence becomes the space that makes his next words land harder. And you can learn from that. Not the personality, not the tone, but the psychology. You can use silence to handle pressure, to stay in control, to protect your emotional space, and to give your words more weight. When you speak after silence, people listen. Silence makes your voice stronger. Think of silence like the eye of a storm. The world may be wild, around you noise, conflict, pressure, but silence is the calm center. When you use silence with purpose, you become that center. The chaos may spin around you, but you remain still. Stillness becomes power. People feel it, even if they do not understand it. You do not have to dominate a room to control a room. Sometimes the quietest person is the strongest presence. Sometimes the person who takes a slow breath before speaking is the one everyone listens to. Sometimes the person who says nothing at all is the one who sets the tone. That is the deeper meaning of my silence speaks power. Not silence from fear, not silence from defeat, but silence from strength. Silence from awareness. Silence from self-control. Silence from a deep understanding that you do not need to react to everything. You choose what deserves your voice. Silence does not replace confidence. It reveals Italiano. It shows that you are not afraid of the moment. You are not afraid of tension. You are not afraid of waiting. You can be present without performing. You can be powerful without shouting. Use silence wisely. Use silence calmly. Use silence with intention. The next time you feel pressured to speak, pause. The next time someone pushes your buttons, breathe. The next time you want to defend yourself, stay still for a moment. Let silence do the work for you. You will be surprised by how much strength you already have, waiting quietly inside you. If this message reached you, if it opened your eyes to the quiet power inside you, then support this channel. Like the video, subscribe, and share this message with someone who needs to hear it today. Your support helps us grow, and together we will keep exploring the deeper layers of the human mind, human behavior, and human power. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.